people or whatever. You're allowed to do that. Sounds good. Banana. Not wrong. I hear you. Mm-hmm. Me tell everybody?
Yeah, you tell everybody.
Darren is
Hello?
fixing his
Hello?
audio issue. Just give us a
Hello?
second.
Hello?
It's a lot of hellos.
Okay, there we go.
Ah, it's a miracle.
All right. There we go.
Sweet.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to CanHammer, your source for 40K from the Great White North. We are finally back after Skype issues. In fact, I literally just thought Skype was going to crap out again about 5 minutes ago, which is why we're running a bit late. I won't even tell people why Skype didn't work last time because it's just too annoying and it just annoys me too much to talk about it. But we are here with episode 175, which is our CanHammer team wrap up and lots of other things to talk about as well. So we're going to forge ahead. Chris is absent tonight, so I'm joined by my erstwhile judging colleague, Diogo Pita. Welcome back, guys.
Buongiorno. How's it going?
All right. And so, without further ado, we're going to dive right into some things. Okay. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming to CanHammer Team. It was great. We had, what did we have? We had a snowstorm, which was maybe one of the worst of our season because it's been pretty warm this year.
Yeah.
We had, apparently, according to Chris, air traffic control radar issues in Ottawa. So that's why flights couldn't get into Ottawa.
Yeah.
We had a First Nations blockade of the railway lines. What else did we have? I think those were our main transportation issues.
It was like the weather was bad.
Yeah.
Like, I guess.
Yeah.
For us coming in from Toronto, it only got bad when we were literally 10 minutes away from the venue.
Okay.
And then it was torture. But coming out of Toronto and heading there, I was like, wow, this is great.
Yeah, it was crazy. The weather just kind of snuck out and like hit Ottawa and then like went away. So it was so isolated, but it was like a blizzard the whole day, and it was pretty crazy. And so despite that, we had to use you in the end for 4 out of the 5 rounds.
Yeah, it was fun.
But we still managed to get our full 130 people, which was pretty impressive considering all the factors that conspired against us.
Yeah,
we almost had a team that couldn't make it completely from Quebec, and they ended up coming with 4 out of 5 people. And we had some last minute sub-ins and stuff. So it was pretty crazy, and but we still managed, and it went off pretty much without a hitch. I don't know.
Yeah.
You were playing, and I didn't really have much to do most of the weekend other than get BCP to work.
Yeah, no, everything ran pretty smooth.
Yeah. So the results and everything are up on the event page. Obviously, CanHammer won best overall. CHTT unofficially won best general by literally getting like almost max 500 points.
Like almost 500 points.
Almost
something crazy.
Yeah, they lost one game, and John Lennon heard no end to the ribbing about that one game he lost.
Yeah.
To Scary, funnily
enough. Yeah.
But otherwise, CHTT just killed everybody. Funny story. So Colin, we were having dinner afterwards, and Colin asked me if they would be allowed to come back next year, um, because they so handily pantsed everybody. And I said for
Come on
sure,
back.
because that's a challenge that people need to work up to. Like
Yeah.
there, there's such a big discrepancy there in performance.
Hmm.
So for sure, I told them they were welcome back. Otherwise, went very well, and I had no issues. Did you have any issues, Yoshi?
Uh, like, what do you mean, like issues in like judging and all that?
Yeah.
No,
Any issues
I
come up for you guys?
uh no, like I every time I was playing, I never had anyone like I had a few people ask me like random questions about the pack, but like just kind of like, hey, is this blah blah blah, and I would tell them. But other than that, I think I maybe answered one rules. Like this is literally out of all those games, I think I answered maybe one or two rules actual questions that they couldn't figure out, and one like not an argument, but they were like kind of bickering back and forth about something, and they called me over, and it
Yeah.
was handled in like a minute, not even.
Yeah. We
But
had
other than
like
that,
really nothing going on. It was pretty, as usual, a very extremely friendly event.
yeah,
Even Charity Hammer, despite beating people's pants off, got favorite opponent vote a couple of times, and
hmm,
I think they had a great time as well. So, um, and the painting caliber was pretty high,
as
and
usual.
the food was actually. I thought the smoked meat on the first day was. It wasn't actually greasy. It was kind of wet because it's steamed, right?
Yeah.
But it was pretty good.
No, the food was good.
The
I
food
enjoyed
was
it.
pretty good. Yeah,
It's about the desserts, bro.
yeah.
I love the desserts.
And we ran out of water, and all the people we had to get extra water had been drinking. So we ran out of water, but we got that sorted sort of halfway through the morning on the Sunday.
Yeah,
We got free carpet, which is great. It's always nice to have carpet.
yeah.
And yeah, so actually went without a hitch. And so the plan next year will be we'll try and give it another week or two from LVO, so gap between LVO and the event. And hopefully we can even expand next year. We have enough tables for another 6 teams. So that'd be pretty cool. That'd be
That'll
pretty
be
cool.
sweet.
Yeah.
More the merrier.
Cool. So as a result of the tournament, though, we've and comments that we've received, and we welcome all comments and feedback because we're always trying to make it better every year. We will be adjusting the scoring formula to put a slightly more emphasis on battle than on sports and paint, but there will still be some emphasis on hobby score and sports score. The event is all about the team. We want people to turn up and play as a team and look like a team and cheer as a team. So that part of this overall scoring will never go away. But we're just changing the formulas a little bit, and we're just adjusting the paint rubric since it is almost completely self-scored with judging, and so we're just going to change that around a little bit, and we'll be trialing that at CCBB, but the all the other things will be for the next CanHammer team. So improvements on the way for next year, so it will be even better than it was this year. I thought this year was pretty good.
I agree.
Pretty good. All right. We won't spend too much time talking about CanHammer team. Oh, the draft. Okay.
Yes.
We'll just remind people. So our draft, we had picked individual players. So I drafted John Lennon, Francois, who did really well for me with 83 points, Colin, who also did pretty well, Colin Sherman, Chris, and Scary. And Diogo, you drafted Richard Siegler, who got the full 100. TJ, who he didn't get quite full 100, I think.
Pretty close.
Against
Yeah, like,
Charity, he didn't get.
I think he got 86 or something like that.
Yeah. Nick Nanvadi, who obviously got the full 20, and
100.
Kieran, I don't know how Kieran did, but he didn't get full 100, obviously.
No, because he lost. He lost to oh my god, he lost against Charity Hammer. I don't remember who he played. No, it was Charity Hammer. He lost to. No, he did lose Charity Hammer. I can't remember. He didn't get perfect 100, but he was damn well close.
Well, everybody lost to Charity Hammer.
Yes.
And,
So.
and you picked Jeff Pandaretta, who he started hot and then he had a few bad rounds in there.
Played Charity Hammer and then Chris. I'm like, why? He ruined me. If he had gone two favorable matchups, I would have won.
So overall, the draft was won by Chris.
Yes.
Chris picked Tim Dietlifs, Dominic, and Zach Como, and Jim Vessel, and Dustin. And Dustin did pretty well.
Hmm.
So actually, having picked nobody from Charity Hammer, Chris came out on top by 20 points.
His strategy worked.
Strategy
Good players on bad teams,
Yeah.
and some good players on good teams.
Yeah. So congratulations, Chris. We'll give him his. I still owe the money for that pot. You gave it to him at the event, right?
Yeah.
All right. I still owe him the money for that pot. So $60 in the pot for Chris there. Cool. Random
More
Scorpio
rich.
say, have you considered having team games like 2K games with 4 players playing 1K hammer each? So we do have doubles at Capital City Bloodbath, and this is ETC format, so that's just what we play. WTC format, so that's why we play it this way. It completely answers all questions about format because that we just follow WTC. All right, cool. So if there's nothing else about CanHammer team, we will put that to bed for this year and till 2021. All right. Before we go any further, I have an event to shout out. On pain of death, I'm supposed to shout out John Green's event, War Masters AOS Team Tournament, April 25th, 26th in Kitchener at the Doubletree. This is a two-man team event. No, it's not two-man team. It's 4. Is it 4 or 5-man?
I think it's a 4-man.
I think it's a 4-man AOS team event out in Kitchener, run by John Green, who used to run CanHammer Team back when it was out west. And so do sign up. There's only 2 more spots left, and he'd like to fill them up. So if you're interested in AOS teams, do sign up. All right, cool. I want to shout out all our subscribers, patrons, and YouTube subscribers, and sponsors. And thank you very much. Okay, before we go on to talk about, let's talk quickly about CCBB. So CCBB this year, August 14th, 15th, and 16th. Pretty much the same as usual. It's going to be at the EY Center in Ottawa. It's going to be carpet, good food, 3-day event. The Friday will be 40K and AOS doubles as usual. The Saturday and Sunday will be 40K champs and AOS champs. 40K, we are hoping to hit 140 to 150 this year, which is going to be crazy, but good.
Yeah, it's sweet.
AOS, we'd like to at least hit the 50 mark, which actually doesn't sound like a lot, but is actually a pretty big AOS event.
Yeah, all things considered,
yeah. And doubles will have unlimited amount, basically. We are strongly considering running a Canadian Invitational on the Friday. Kind of 8 to 12 man, 3-round, single elimination, knockout invitational, where we were invite sort of the top Canadian players in the ITC to come and compete for possibly cash prize. We want to get the West Coast guys out to CCBB, and it's kind of expensive to fly from Vancouver to Ottawa at that time of year. It's actually more expensive to fly to Ottawa than it is for them to fly to like England or literally anywhere else in the world.
Anywhere else, yeah, it's ridiculous. I wish we had American flight prices for flying inside our own damn country.
Internal flight, stupid expensive. Anyway, so we're hoping that with I've been assured that if we can sweeten the deal, that we'll get at least 2 or 3 of those guys out. So that would make it a truly Canadian Invitational, which would be cool.
Could be dope.
You think you've been invited, Yoshi? You're gonna get into the top ITC there?
Yeah, or I'll bribe you or Chris, someone.
Yeah. So
I'll find a way.
So we're thinking about doing that. We're gonna have a meeting next week to talk about CCBB, and so I'll let people know, obviously, but start hitting those ITC points, and we'll see how that goes. That would be on the Friday, so you wouldn't be able to play in the doubles, obviously.
I'll do both.
At the same time.
Same time. Multifaceted.
Cool. Well, it is like single elimination, so like if you lose in the first round, maybe we could stagger the starts. I don't know.
I guess.
Andrew is running, let's see, Rumble Slam, Free Blades, and Bushido this year. No more Batman. Batman has died off, I guess. So those
Such
are
a good
the
game too.
games. Yeah, those are the games that Andrew will be running this year. And I believe he's going to have like the Free Blades Company and those guys all coming up to run these events again, like last time, which is really cool because they prize it out nicely for pretty small events. Like,
Rumble Slam looks cool.
yeah, yeah,
I don't know what Bushido is.
yeah. We'll be having Gamer Garage Sale as usual, the big event where you come and sell your stuff and buy more stuff that you don't need. So Gamer Garage Sale will be on again. So August 14th, 15th, 16th, put it on your calendar. Tickets will be on sale probably sometime in March, early April. And yeah, so look out for that on the website. Bushido is like a Japanese samurai inspired game. It's like a skirmish game. Actually, I watched them playing it at CanHammer Team. It's pretty cool. The miniatures are really nice. Cool samurai miniatures. One guy had a team of just like fat Japanese guys with like clubs, with like robes. Like they're like where the robes can't close over their belly. You know, it's like a whole team of like these fat guys.
Wonder who makes that game.
Yeah, I don't know. And then there was like the team of Ronin who looked like really cool. And then there was like a team of like villagers. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I'm kind of into Japanese inspired things, so I might have to have a look at that. But yeah, so I think you'll be running that along with Free Blades and Rumble Slam. So yeah, CSBB going to be a big event. Everybody try and come. It is unfortunately, as it stands right now, 1 week after the WTC. Could not be helped, but it is 3 weeks before Nova, so there is a break before Nova. So it's in that little gap there. Okay. I think that's it about CCBB. Okay. Before we talk about new ITC, we have an announcement. So this year, we've decided with the new ITC season to make a proper push to do well as a team in the ITC. Last year, we actually did pretty good, at least at the beginning of the year, mostly because Jim played for us and he won a whole bunch of crap. And basically, we were like top 3 teams in the ITC for a whole period of time until Brohammer and started to come on the scene. Then Brohammer started to kick everybody's butt.
I meant Battle Brothers.
Yeah, Battle Brothers, Brohammer, and Beast Coast is always there. So we were doing very well just purely off of Jim's performance. And then also like Devin and Skyray and those guys as well. So this year we want to keep doing well, but we want to make it more of a proper team. So we're not like doing applications and all this stuff. So there's only 2 requirements this season to play for Team CanHammer. Number 1 is you put CanHammer on your ITC ranked events. Fairly straightforward. And then number 2, you are a good sportsman both on and off the table. So if you put CanHammer and you're not a member of our team, then that apparently gets some people in trouble. So if you do want to play for us and you're going to be a good sportsman, then let me know and I'll add you to the team. In terms of what you get in return, we've set up on our Discord, which is a pretty busy Discord now, we've set up a private ITC team channel, and on that channel will be all the team members, and you can get list advice, tactics advice, strategy, just general back talk, whatever you like. You can use that channel for whatever you like, but it'll be a private chat channel just for the ITC team. And we're going to get people to put their real names in there or their BCP names so that we can actually track how people do. And when people have scores, we'll go over them on the podcast and we'll shout out our players and see how they did and try and get better, make everybody better as a team. So we're going to put a little bit more work into being a team. And as a result, people need to just tell me if they want to play for the team. So let me know. If you want to play for Team CanHammer, then let us know. You don't have to be Canadian. There's only 2 requirements, as I said, and so I think we already have one guy who's from the States who signed up to play for us. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So there it is. So that's announced. So I'll put it up on the website, on the Facebook page after this. I didn't want to do it till I had a chance to talk about it.
Ooh, maybe Dream Team will create a new CanHammer team shirt.
Maybe we should do that. Yeah,
that'd be dope.
Yeah,
everybody have the same shirt.
Maybe we should start. Maybe throw in the shirt as a sweetener, like Sweeten Low.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
I
We'll
don't
have to
know.
see
We'll
how
have to
the
see.
economics works out on that.
Yeah, that'd be dope though.
And yes, you can also play for AOS. It's not just 40K. You can play for AOS too, but it's mostly going to be 40K. Do they have team rankings for AOS? I guess
Yep.
they do.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't pay attention to it because I have to scroll
Yeah.
further down.
You have to scroll
So
further down, way down.
way down. So I'm like, nah. But we do have a lot of people that like playing AOS and some really good AOS players. So,
Yep.
and I think they're sending a team this year for AOS ETC WTC,
Yes. Yeah.
whatever it's called now.
Alex Thibodeau.
Yeah.
He is I think he's the captain of the Canadian AOS or it's still
Yeah.
ETC, I guess, for AOS ETC team, and
Yeah.
they're sending a team over this year.
Yeah. I think Joe's on the team. Joe Duca.
Joe
I think
Duca?
he's on the team. He was on the 40K ETC team a few times. So, but now he plays pretty much only plays AOS.
Yeah, exclusive.
Exclusive. Hates
Yeah,
40K.
Yep. So exciting times. So if you guys want to play for CanHammer, let me know, and we'll get you added. If people were already playing for us last season and want to just like rejoin or whatever, just send me a message. I'll add you to the Discord chat. So I just did that for Yoshi and whoever else out there. And news. Logan's playing 40K again. What?
Who? Old man Logan.
Old man Logan.
Oh my
Logan.
God. How far he's come.
Yeah, so it was that CanHammer team. He was coaching Nick's team, Nuclear Murder Team, and he comes up to me. He's like, "I'm gonna play 40K
back.
again."
You can't stand there and just watch people play 40K and not want to play 40K.
Okay, so he said that like last year as well, but he never ended up playing 40K.
Yeah, but this time he got to see Siegler playing Tau, and he's like, I own all these models, and look what he's doing to these people. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Inspired.
So it inspired him. And I think he won his first game back playing against Nick or something.
Yeah, so I went to Red Dragon yesterday to pick up some books, and guess who was there playing 40K? Nick and Logan. There we go. So
it's good. Always good to have Logan back. I remember going to LVO with Logan, sharing your room. It was awesome.
Yep. Seems like a bygone era. All right, so now we can talk about what everybody's talking about these days. The new ITC
Warhammer.
Champions missions.
Let me
So
pull those up.
there were at least 2 to 3 false leaks of this over the
Yeah.
last week that were wrong. In fact, I think shout out to Dustin and Jesse. They completely talked about a completely false document on their latest podcast.
I actually talked to them in a chat I have with just me and them, and they're like, yeah, the new ITC mission, I'm like, they're all fake. The new ones are coming out in 30 minutes. He's like, oh. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
so much for that episode.
And it is currently a work in progress for the next couple of weeks. So this is the latest one that I just downloaded, which is version 2-14. So from Valentine's Day, version 2.0 beta. Literally is constantly being updated with typos and clarifications. So at any given time, there may be slightly different version. So you might want to download the latest version, but this is as recent as I got. So, do you want to take us through some of the more general changes? We can talk about the secondaries in a second, but there's been some pretty big general changes.
Well, the first big change that they implemented is now there's no more alternating deployment. So there's no more I deploy a unit, you deploy a unit, blah, blah, blah. Now it's roll, winner picks going first, second. The person who wants to go first deploys their whole army first. Then you deploy second.
Yeah.
And the player deploying second can roll for the deployment map. And if he doesn't like the first roll that he got for the deployment map, he can re-roll it if he wishes to.
Yeah.
And that's the first big change. There's another even bigger change.
So let's talk about the deployment first. So if people don't know, the process for changing this document was there's a Facebook group called the ITC Tournament Organizers. Anyway, it's a whole bunch of TOs or just random people. Who knows? It's not particularly.
I think it's all TOs.
It's supposed to be TOs, but I don't think it's particularly rigid. Anyway, it's a bunch of guys, and so just a whole bunch of polls went out over the last month about what people wanted to change. Polls about the secondaries, all sorts of things about how we should change the ITC missions. And so one of the big things was deployment types, because last season it 3 of the missions were alternating deployment, like old school, old style, and 3 of them were like all down, one at a time, like the new style. And so this season, the question was, keep splitting half and half, go all old style or go all new style. And so obviously chosen to go all you deploy, I deploy, like complete deployments. Which
So much better.
do you like that better? I like that better
So
too.
much better.
If
It's
anything,
it just speeds it up.
yeah, just saves time.
Yeah.
A lot of armies these days are going to deploy the same no matter what, or they have some deployment shenanigans which lets them change their deployment. So it really just kind of saves time. Yeah. So what you're supposed to do, the first roll you do is whoever wins chooses the attacker or the defender. So they're using some of that chapter approved kind of terminology. There's a lot of chapter approved in these missions. And then if you're the defender, you get to pick the deployment, pick your zone, and when you roll the deployment, if you don't like it, you can re-roll it. So some armies really don't like whatever, X. So this is a way of helping you avoid the one deployment you really don't like. It's not a good way, a reliable way of getting the deployment you really do like, because there's 6 of them. So that's good at least, because some armies really don't like, Dawn of War or something. And
or sometimes you just don't like certain deployments because you don't like playing them. Like, I rolled Vanguard. I hate playing on Vanguard.
Me too.
I'll re-roll it. So.
And also,
cool.
because as the defender, you are definitely going second. There's no more seizing.
Yeah, that's the other big one.
Yeah,
no
so you're the defender. You are deploying second and going second. So you know where you stand. There's no two ways about it. Traditionally, it's a big advantage to go second in ITC because of end of round scoring. So kill more, hold more at end of round, so you know how many you need to kill, how many you need to hold, and also bottom of 6 can be pretty important. So counteracting that is the prevalence of alpha strike these days. And so the thing that would maybe keep some alpha strike armies from going all out on the line is the C's.
Yeah.
And now there's no C's, so now people are worried that if you know where you're going first and you're an alpha strike army, you're just going to put everything up because there's no fear of you not going first.
Yep.
Which is realistic.
Yeah, that's good. And in turn, you're going second, which is still a good advantage. You still get the deciding thing on kill more and hold more. You just deploy more defensive. You don't have to, sometimes you'll be like, I'm just going to play like this and hope I seize. No, you don't have to think about it. Just play defensive if you know you're going to get alpha struck and go from there, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. It speeds it up. It's just so much faster.
It's going to remain to be seen whether that's really a big deal. I don't think it's going to pan out to be such a big deal.
No.
Because as second, you still get all the inherent advantages of going second. You get prepared positions. So and you can exactly what that person can do. So, it shouldn't be too bad. And if you were going to die anyway, then you were probably going to die anyway. So
it's not going to stop you from game table.
Yeah. Ronan, you said objectives no longer measure from the middle. It never did measure from the middle in ITC. Just most people play it that way because it's easier.
Yeah. Or use the big 6-inch objectives. You never have to measure. Just be on the objective. You have the objective.
Yeah, but that assumes that you measure from the middle, right?
Blah, blah, blah. Yes.
Anyway, we don't have to get into that huge argument. If ITC really should specify how big the objective markers should be, then you could do this, no problems. But anyway, that's a different podcast altogether. Okay, so now you pick your deployment. You're the attacker or the defender. You know if you're going first or second. And then after all that knowledge, now you place your objectives. And now 3 of the 6 missions are player placed. And 2 of those 3 player-placed objective missions involve placing objectives in no man's land, which is a thing that Reese said he wanted to do. He wanted to try and discourage castling and putting all the objectives in your own zone. So that's a player place was what? 1 of them or 2 of them had player place before?
I think it was 1 or 2. No, wait. 1 was definitely maybe 2, and 1 of them you could redeploy an objective, like move it 6 inches.
So
your home objective.
Yeah, so you still have that one, but that's a I think that's a fixed one.
They changed that mission. It's still the same. They just added an objective to that mission.
Yeah. So and also almost all the missions have an objective in the middle, which can never be messed with. So there's more objectives in the middle of the field basically than there were last year, and there's more player placement. And as well, when we get to the secondaries tend to give you extra if you go for those ones that are in the middle. So
Yeah.
there's been a lot of changes to try and discourage kind of castling and never moving.
Yeah.
So what do you think of that?
I like it. I like it. It makes you. It's a different dynamic to play. Now you can add elements to your army that force you to move forward because it is pretty boring. Like if you just sit back and shoot away, it's not. It doesn't reward you for anything. Like you're just sitting there shooting. You're not. There's no real let's say skill involved in that, right?
Yeah.
But now if you have to start maneuvering, your army can actually become a lot better. And like an example I can think of is if you look at like Siegler's Tau list. I've seen that Tau list before we knew who Siegler was. People would use that. They'd sit back, they would have Shadow Sun, and they would Monko or Kion, whichever one it is, twice, essentially blowing you off the table, and then they'd move up, and then that would be the game over. But if you look at his list now, the whole thing is moving forward, right?
Yeah.
And being in the middle, right? And just more armies doing that and adding that kind of element to the game is so much better.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting. You'll see a lot. I think you're going to start seeing a lot of units that you never saw before.
Yeah, what's interesting is, so even on these objectives, some of the secondaries encourage you to hold the no man's land objectives. But of course, in the player placed ones, you could probably, most of them are at least 6 inches from your deployment edge, which is not that far. So you can still kind of stack a little bit. So that's interesting. There's definitely a skill to player placed objectives as well, which maybe lots of people are not familiar with or have not learned. ETC players will be very familiar with how to place objectives, but so there's a little bit of skill there too. All right. And then after you do all that, then you choose your secondaries, and then you deploy. As we said, there's no rule to seize, and it's game on. Okay, primary mission has not changed at all. Still kill more, hold more. There was a lot of people disappointed that they did not get rid of kill more.
I like kill more.
I was just trying to think, why would people want to get rid of kill more? I couldn't think of a good reason why you'd want to get rid of kill more and not hold more as well.
I like it, and it also like some people you lose sight of kill more how important it is, and some people with their alpha strike they'll be like, I'm just gonna kill a bunch of these units when really they could just farm those units over time to get more kill more. Like especially if you're going second.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to kill if you kill 2 of my units. I don't need to kill 6 of yours. I just need to kill 3.
Yeah.
Right. And it'll just save. It just helps me in the future. Right. Some people don't play like that. Some people just
just kill
full steam ahead, kill everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I like having that point there because it helps you. Right.
Yeah. It adds another layer of tactics. As long as whatever you're leaving behind is not going to end up killing you. You don't have to kill everything you can kill every turn, and sometimes it's actually better to leave some easy kills for later turns.
For sure.
Unless they can end up hiding.
Yeah. Well. It is what it is at that point.
Okay, so here's where we're going to talk about secondaries. So so those are the big changes. There are some decent sized changes in the secondaries, but mostly in the form of new secondaries. So the secondaries have now been split into hold secondaries is called maneuvers and the kill type secondaries, which is now called seek and destroy. And then in neither category is old school.
Old school's its own.
Old school is like
category.
Yeah, it's its own thing. So what you need now, so you pick 3 again. You have to pick 1 seek and destroy. You have to pick 1 maneuver, and then you can pick a third one from either or old school. And the key here is that for the kill ones, you cannot use the same unit to kill. The same unit killing the same target does not count for multiple secondaries. Like none of them stack. So if you start shooting a knight and it's a character, you can't use it for 2. That's a bad example. But okay, so if you start shooting a unit of centurions and you start counting them for Reaper, you cannot count them for Gangbuster.
Yeah, I guess with the knight, it could be like you can't use it for Kingslayer and Titan Slayer.
Well, there's no Kingslayer anymore.
Oh, there's no Kingslayer. That's right. Okay.
That's why it was a bad example.
Never mind.
So basically, you can never double up on anything in anything now with any secondaries. It's very, very prescriptive in the text that none of these things double up. And same with the hold. So if you hold an objective as an engineer, you cannot then hold that objective for any other purpose. And you cannot. the same unit can't do two things with an objective, and the same objective cannot be held for two different purposes. Okay, so no single unit can do more than one thing, and no objective can count for more than one thing, which you have to be careful with, because a lot of people, you just stack shit on your back two objectives, but you can't do that anymore.
Can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
If another thing, it forces you out of your deployment zone.
Yeah, exactly. So now you can't just camp two objectives and get, two different secondaries on that. You have to go forward a little bit. So with that in mind, we'll just talk about the secondaries. So we'll talk about the kill ones first, seek and destroy. So Headhunter is the same. Oh, Old School is the same. Headhunter is the same, 1 point for every enemy character destroyed.
Yeah.
So here's the new one, Born for Greatness. So you pick a single model character unit, and then you get a point for each one of this list of things it needs to do. It can do each one only once, and you get a total of 4 points. So it needs to kill an enemy unit that's a character, kill an enemy unit that's not a character, deny a psychic power, hold an objective outside your zone, heroically intervene, and begin and end a battle round wholly within your opponent's deployment zone. What do you think of this secondary, Yoshi?
Like, it's cool. Very select things that can do most of these. Like,
Yeah.
if I have to kill a character, okay, whatever, that could probably happen, right? If you have to kill a unit, sure, that's the easy one, right? But then it's like deny psych power. So now, for me to do that one, my guy would have to be a psyker. Okay, I got to hold an objective. Sure, it's easy. Heroically intervene into an enemy unit. Maybe he's not that good in combat, but if he is, okay, sure. And then begin and end the battle holding your opponent's deployment zone. So this is an aggressive. So it's really catering to like those really good fighty characters.
Smash Captain,
Smash Captain,
Shield Captain,
Shield Captain, Demon Prince, like
Demon Prince.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's the thing. Like, if you do Smash Captain and the other guy, they can't deny the psych power, so they have to pick the other ones. So it's cool that they give you 6 to pick from, and they're pretty achievable, I would say, for the most part. But it's tough. Like, if you put that character there and let's say he fails to kill something, right, and then he dies, now, because you have to select that model, right? And it's only one.
You have to pick
and it's only one in your army. So if I kill him, or if somebody for whatever reason has 9 eliminators, because that's not popular, and just kills that character, then you're like, well, it was a great choice. I just lost 4 points I can never get again.
Yeah.
So like, it's cool. Like, I understand. Like, I get where it is, and but in the current state of things, it's probably not one I would take.
Yeah. I think I don't think
you know.
it's an objective you build your army around. I think if you have such a character, and somebody just pointed out, Morty, maybe a knight, then
Sure.
you, depending on who you're playing and where the objectives are, you might pick that one. Or if you can deep strike a psyker character into the enemy zone onto their objective, deny a power, and then snipe off a character, like, you just got them all. But
Sure, it's very like, I think it's a very like situational one you could take.
Yeah.
But also, like, it could cost you, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a no-brainer. Like, you have to be very careful.
Yeah. Okay. Mark for Death is next. Mark for Death was just changed from, I think it was 7 power level to 100 points. What do you think about that?
Oh my god! Like, I liked it at power level 7. I know it kind of messed with Grey Knights because everything in the thing is power level 7, but that 7 was fine. 100 points, I feel, is like, it's too low.
It's too low.
It should be like 125, 130.
Yeah. People were thinking maybe like 140 is the approximate point value for 7 PL. People have a real thing against power level, but for this particular purpose, it was actually kind of good. Because with points, it's like, okay, if it's 100, now I'm going to have something that's 99 points. It's like...
I'm going to play Cheap Hammer. Just take everything under that. Mind you, it'll be hard, but...
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah,
but they could always alter that, right? They could just change that point number.
They can. And, this is
not
beta.
set in stone.
So, 100 points seems low, but people should play it and see. I mean, my whole army fits above 100, basically. Like 100 is, stuff you were marking before is going to be over 100. So...
Yeah. If they change it to 150, I'll be very happy. Don't get me wrong, because it makes my army much harder to mark. But
yeah.
As in, you can only mark one unit, but...
Yeah, so there's Mark for Death, and of course it doesn't stack with anything. And the same stipulation, of course, that if your unit splits or joins, now you have to kill the whole unit. So, So the interesting thing, marked for death, is my unit of Alaris Terminators now. If they unleash and split, now you have to kill all 4 of them, along with the other 3 marked for death. So
Best
there we
stratagem
go.
ever.
There we go. Titan Slayer. So just 8 wounds to a Titanic, as before. But now, of course, if you start taking wounds towards Titan Slayer, you cannot take wounds later on from that same model against any other secondary. So no stacking.
No stacking. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's no Kingslayer anymore. So really, if you play Knights, you're taking Titan Slayer, and then you're taking other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Gangbusters is the same, except now you cannot do troops.
Yeah. Can't do troops. And was Swarms always there?
Swarm was always there.
Okay.
So what were troops that were giving gang? So like breachers and stuff like that, admech guys,
Custodian troops.
custodian guards. So now I can play guardians without giving up gangbusters. So
Finally.
that's actually helped me a lot.
Yeah.
And
Some
of
other
course, and then once you start using a unit for gang, you cannot use that unit for any other thing like Reaper. So that's no stack. Like nothing stacks. Just
Nothing
emphasize
stacks.
that. Nothing stacks.
Just empty. Yeah. There will never be a question. Does it stack? That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Nothing stacks.
So what's interesting is it's a multi-model unit. So after you unleash your Alaris Terminators, they no longer count for gang.
Yeah.
So there you go. Another use for Unleash.
Oh god.
formerly
Custodes is the new meta.
the worst stratagem in ITC, now become one of the coolest
Whoa.
stratagems.
I used it one whole time at the event, and it was the greatest stratagem ever.
Yeah, man. Custodes 20-0 that game.
Oh, that was the most brutal beating I've ever given somebody with an arm and with an army. He scored 1 point. I was like, this is amazing. This is trapped. I'm not gonna play this.
Dude, you were all on board. What happened?
I saw my Eldar again. I was like, yes, that's right.
All right, so gang, that'll help some people. Otherwise, it's pretty much unchanged. My army gives up less gang now, which is great because it was basically auto 4 against me before.
Yeah.
Big game is the same. Monsters vehicles over 7 wounds. Butcher's Bill is the same. 2 enemy units, and of course, those wholly doesn't stack. And Reaper is now 20 wounds, not 20 models.
Yeah, I have infantry models destroyed.
Yeah.
Just
And
really good.
Infantry only. Yeah. Was it infantry before? I think it was.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
No. Sorry, Reaper. It was just models. It was models.
It was just models. Yeah.
It was
So
models
now it's
killed,
20 wounds of infantry models. And
Great
of
killing.
course, it doesn't stack.
Doesn't stack, but it's great now against like intercessors. Like,
Yeah, I feel like this
5,
was
10
an
points.
anti-marine change.
Yeah, I feel like because a lot like there's some armies like you're gonna see a lot of intercessors. Like you can do a crazy like I think it's Imperial Fist like mass 90 intercessors. Like, all right, buddy, thank you for 180 worth of Reaper points, right?
Yeah.
So, but no, it's good.
Yep, it doesn't affect. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So next is the. So that's all the seek and destroy ones. So we'll go on to the maneuver secondaries or the hold ones. So here's where we have some of the interesting changes. So recon is basically unchanged, except now if you have 2 units in every quarter, you get 2 points.
Oh, it's crazy.
That's actually super easy for some armies to do.
Yeah, like if you like MSU is gonna be so infuriating to play against.
Yeah. And also, they didn't. Some people suggested to get rid of flyers being able to score recon, and they didn't. So,
Yeah.
that can be helpful. Little units that pop up like GSC. If you max out recon in a couple of turns,
Yeah, Cavalites and Venoms. You just fly 1 Venom with Cavalites into a zone, and the next turn get out. Boom. 2 units.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. That's gonna be good. Okay. Behind enemy lines is now not flyer. I think that's a new change.
Yeah.
And entirely within the enemy deployment zone at the end of your turn, earn 1 point.
That's also changed.
Because it was the battle round before, right?
Well, before you had to, you got a point if you started in your enemy deployment zone.
Yeah. You had to survive.
Yeah, so you had to survive, which sucked. That's why I never took it.
Okay.
But
so
now, not bad.
now you can just send your sacrificial venoms into the enemy zone. If
Yeah,
you
and get a
really
point.
had to, or other units. And then
Or send 3 of them.
if you have 3 or more, then you get 2 points. So
Yeah,
it's pretty
which
good.
is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Another
like,
another thing, like you want easy 4 points, send your army into the enemy points and start fighting there.
yeah, yeah. And I like the no flyer thing.
Oh, 'cause it was gross. I would just fly three Eldar flyers into your zone and then just fly sideways with Vector Dancer and collect 4 points. I'm like
Yeah,
this game's hard.
yeah. All right, ground control now is the same, except if you hold all the objectives at the end of the game, you get your 4 points. So, because on mission 3, you only have 3 objectives. So, if you hold all 3 on that mission, you get your 4 points. So, that's a
Yeah,
nice little clarification there.
yeah,
Okay, King of the Hill. So, King of the Hill has changed. Chris Musso, no, the Custodes Tidbits is Wednesday. Yeah, so sorry guys, the schedule changed. I couldn't do tomorrow night. Custodes Tactica Part 11 will be Wednesday, and that's when I'm going to go through these missions with regards to Custodes. Anyway, so King of the Hill now is changed to within 9 inches of the middle, not 6. So that's way easier, especially considering
yeah,
a lot of the deployments are actually 9 inches from the middle. The pointy
yeah.
Dawn of War and the pointy Hammer and Anvil.
Hmm.
And it's the same non-character multi-model units. And if you have 4 units within 9, you score 2 points. And
Yeah.
multi-model means they started the game with more than one model. So as we'll talk about on Wednesday, unleash again Alaris split 4 guys into 4 models,
It's like
4
somebody
units.
must love Custodes when they were writing this. Like, yes, we need to make this army much better.
It's a pretty niche thing. We'll talk about it on Wednesday, but it
Yeah.
is another cool thing to do with Unleash. So what do you think of the King of the Hill change? Because it was pretty hard to score before
Uh,
without boxes.
it's cool. Like, it's pretty hard to score now anyway.
Yeah,
Like, because very few armies can want to stand in the middle with
yeah,
multiple units and not get blown off, right?
yeah,
So it's cool. Some armies still do it really well, like the Tau with the drones, still pull it off. It'll just get them 4 points a lot faster
yeah,
when they have all their units there. But it's cool. It's not one that like my army can. I could do it technically, but I don't. I wouldn't do it because based on I need to push forward. I don't want to just be standing there. But it's cool. The addition of being able to get 2 points if you have more units is a little like enticing because then you can just shove all your stuff in the middle and really just get 2 turns. You're like, oh, I got my 4 points, and then if they die, they die. Fall back.
fall
whatever.
back, retreat.
So it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a lot easier to do 2 turns of it worth than do 4 turns of standing in the middle. But
Yeah, you just wonder whether so the recon with the double, this with the double. You think if they're not just like bad ideas, you know. I
yeah,
guess you have to pick depending on what your opponent's playing.
yeah, and since you pick this after like the map where the objectives are,
Yeah,
all that stuff, makes it a little bit easier, and it's still secretive. Like some people might, I don't know if a lot of people do that. When you
yeah,
write down your secondaries, you don't show your opponent yet. You write them down, they write them down, then you show them at the same time.
yeah,
Because there is an advantage if your opponent picks like I'm going to pick gangbusters, and you only have one gangbuster unit. If I know that, like, not ahead of time, sorry. If I know that he's going to be coming after my unit, I can hide it. Now I'm just going to pick a different one. I'm going to pick more defensive things. I'm not going to be pushing out.
yeah.
So
Yeah, most people don't realize you're supposed to hide your secondaries, but most people don't do that, even at the top levels.
yeah, some people are pretty well. Some once you get to the top, most players have a preset. Like they look at your army and they know what 3 they're going to take, and their opponent usually knows this is what he's probably going to take against me.
Yeah.
So they plan that way, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah, I think when you make your army, you should be aware of what secondaries you give up.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Engineers. I don't think engineers changed. It's still 2 non-character, non-fortification units. So there was a movement in the chat to make not doable by vehicles. But because like an impulsor or like a crappy rhino or like a venom can get you your engineers. But it was decided not to change it, so vehicles can still be engineers.
Yeah, they added the 2 point thing to it though. If you hold one or more objectives,
Yes.
if you're holding 2 objectives and one or more of them is outside of your deployment zone, you get 2 points, which is like it's awesome.
Yeah, so it's something for your second engineer unit to do now instead of just 2 hanging
Yeah,
around. So if you
exactly.
hold that second one and it's outside your deployment zone, it could be 0.0001 microns outside your zone. That gives you 2 engineer points now per turn, which is nice because I
Yeah,
think you can still only start scoring from round 2. So it's kind of like one of these ones where you have to sort of give up, would you have to wait. So yeah,
yeah, and you can't use Oh my god, they don't benefit from cover or terrain blocking line of sight to them, and you can't use abilities to make them untargetable. Your engineer units, like you can't cloud of flies your unit,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
example. That's one of the
That's
examples
been
it
like
gives.
that. Those from
Yeah,
before. Yeah.
yeah,
So engineers only changed because now it's giving you something that you could possibly do with your second unit. So that's pretty cool. Still a good secondary. And okay, so here is the new one that I actually find is a little bit cumbersome, and there's probably, once people start playing with this, going to be a whole bunch of interactions that were not thought of when it was written.
yeah,
There already have been many changes to this paragraph since Friday when this came out, because we were just on what was written. We were feeding back to Reese like, okay, you got to do this, you got to clarify this, you got. So this paragraph has already changed probably more than any other part of the document already. So this is sappers. So sappers, 2 non-character, non-fortification, non-flyer units from your army are sappers. So if they end their movement within an objective outside of their own zone, they basically turn off that objective for the opponent as long as they don't do anything. Okay, so it's
yeah,
kind of like they're engineers, but and that objective does not generate mission points for primary or secondary for the opponent as long as it's turned off by the sappers. And this was just added yesterday or today. They can do this even if they don't control the objectives, because the question was, what happens when you have a OBSEC unit and a
yeah,
sappers unit? And so they can turn it off even in the face of an OBSEC unit. So that's a big one. And then it stays like that basically until you take that unit off the objective, or it does something. So, i.e., you got to charge them,
yeah.
make them fight you.
Make them fight me
Yeah.
or
And
kill them.
then if you do this, you can do this to 2 different objectives and score 2 points per turn maximum. And again, you can't make them untargetable.
Yeah,
So what do you think of sappers?
it's like I've never seen a secondary that was this much reading.
Yeah, it's like a super long
It's
paragraph.
very specific. It's cool. It really like going second would be dope for it because if you let's say there's 5 objectives, right, and you're holding 2, and then you move a unit to the top one, I just move my sapper unit onto it and turn it off, right? So you can't get hold more, or maybe you can't get your whatever for engineering it or something like that.
So
Like,
you get control of it
but I get
because
control of it, so I'll hold more.
yeah, because it turns it off only for your opponent. It doesn't just turn
Exactly.
it off.
Yeah. So it's like I can just move onto it, turn it off for you. I get hold more. You don't get nothing. You got to now kill that unit, and I'm just gonna do it next turn again. And it's cool, and I could see it being frustrating for some people. But I also, like you said, I think there's gonna be a lot of interactions where it's gonna come up and people are like, so how does that work? And you're obviously not gonna have an answer right on the spot, so someone's gonna have to make a decision.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting. It'll be like I would just make Colux assassins, sappers.
That's an interesting idea.
Yeah, you only hit me on 6s, so here, good luck.
Yeah, but then they could just charge you.
Charge me, hit me on 6s, good luck.
Yeah, but you have to fight, so then you can't sap.
Oh, that's right. Damn it. Well, that's the solution anyway. You just gotta
That's the
charge that
solution
unit,
for all
right?
the
So,
sappers, is just charge them with something.
yeah, so it's cool. It's like I don't know, it's very situational. Like I don't think a lot of people are gonna take it because it's
I
just you're
don't know.
feeding me units to kill.
I'm seeing like Gaunt spam, boys,
Yeah.
GSC just moving up and taking the no man's lands and sapping them. And
It's
then
gonna be it's gonna be a lot of it's gonna be MSU is gonna be making a strong return.
I think so. I think we're gonna start seeing a lot of Horde come back.
A lot of cheap little units, and it's gonna be a million brigades and
Yeah.
battalions of like
So guard with the new
peanut
stuff.
units.
I think we're gonna see
Guard
Gaunts again.
Guard got really good with these
Yeah.
missions.
I think we're
But
gonna see maybe like neophytes. I think we're gonna start seeing Horde again, big time, because the Breviathan list doesn't really deal with 300 models very well.
yeah, it's too much to chew through. And it's like when you look at these secondaries, so easy to get your 12 points by you do by
Just
turn
cover the
3.
board. Yeah, yeah.
Just cover the board. Boom, I have 12 points. Now I just have to, defend these objectives and kill a unit or 2 or whatever. Just get points to keep it close.
Yeah.
Because that was the hard part before. To get 4 points, you had to do things on 4 turns, and unless it was like something specific, like gangbusters or like Time Slayer or whatever. But for maneuvering ones like recon, behind enemy lines, all that. You have to do it for 4 turns. This is hard because they're shooting your stuff. You might run out of units, right? Now I can get all these secondaries super fast, so it changes the playstyle of the other person and what they're taking. So it'll be it's a lot. It's interesting. I've played one game with the new missions and I thought it was awesome, but it's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how much the missions actually end up changing the meta as much as like a new book or something.
Yeah,
I think it will to some extent. Like it
I
has
think it
to,
will for sure. Yeah,
because you have to play the mission.
yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It's very interesting. Okay, so that's Sappers, and the last one is the Postman. I like this one. So basically, you get a single model from your army that's not a vehicle, monster, or Titanic. And this model doesn't have to be a lone model. It can be a model in a unit. And then basically, this model has to go around to 4 different objectives and be on the objective at the end of its turn to get intel from it.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be get intel from it. It should be deliver intel from it. It's the Postman. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyway,
I should point that out. Like it doesn't
yeah.
make any sense.
This doesn't make any sense.
And it can only do one objective per turn, obviously, and it can't do the same objectives. So you have to go to 4 different objectives over the course of the game. And if you do, you get 4 points.
Yeah. Just fly around a Seer Council with 4 objectives. Yoink.
Yep, Dangerous Dave, or even a Shield Captain, maybe. Or if you have a big unit of bikes, one of the bikes, or a possessed, like one possessed, or big, like there's a lot of possibilities with Postman.
Oh, there's so many. Oh my god. If you have like a super unit that you can buff up to be like really hard to kill and just walk it around grabbing the points, like thank you.
I like that Seer Council idea. I'm going to do that on
Circle.
Thursday.
And you can you move pretty fast and you can quicken literally the fastest 4 points you're ever gonna get.
Yeah, I don't even think that you have to capture the objective. You just have to be on it.
It's just control. So I guess to control you have to.
We only gather intelligence from each objective you gather from. This model may choose to gather intel on an objective within 3 inches that you control. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
But you could if you take that unit, let's say for the Seer Council, you string it out across 2 or 3 objectives if you can, 2 usually, and be like, okay, this turn I'm gonna take this one. Okay, cool. Next turn you don't even move. Next turn I'll take that one.
No, but you have to designate the model.
Oh yeah, no, just move them around in the unit.
Yeah, I guess so.
You move one guy here, swap them around.
It's another job for Dangerous Dave. Okay. Dangerous Dave. Shout out to Chris Blackham for Dangerous Dave.
Dangerous Dave.
Dangerous Dave. Okay. He's the guy who gets the focus will.
Oh.
He's the guy who does all the casting.
He does all the casting. He does all the work. Yeah.
And now he's going to be the Postman too. Okay. Yeah. We'll quickly go through the missions. Sure. So scenario 1 is Seize Ground. This is 6. I can't remember if this was 6 before, but I think it was.
It was 6.
In the sort of H pattern.
Yeah. And the bonus changed.
Bonus now is just hold any 4, which is actually not that hard with this
hold or contest
configuration. Yeah, hold or contest. So according to Reese, it was intentional that almost all the bonuses are way easier to do now.
Yeah, that's much easier than holding 5.
Yeah, okay. Way easier to not even have to control them, just have to contest them. So,
yeah.
So there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Mission 2, Cut to the Heart. This is the 3 objective one. Again, objective in the middle, and then 1 in each zone. And now to get the bonus, you have to hold the center and your own objective instead of the center and your opponent's objective. So it's way easier.
Yeah, this is like but this mission,
way easier.
So easy to get this point.
You just have to walk to the middle and you got a bonus.
Yeah, I'm literally gonna walk. I'm like, all right, bonus.
So Cut to the Heart, easier.
So much easier.
Nexus Control is 4 objectives. So 2 in No Man's Land and 2 in the zones. So if you hold the No Man's Lands, both hold No Man's Lands objectives, you get the bonus, which again probably might not be that hard.
Yeah.
Depending on where they're placed.
Yeah.
So that's Nexus Control. And player placed. I don't think that was player placed before.
No, I think it was.
Can't remember.
I can't remember. Anyway, I would just look at the paper before I'm like, that's where they go.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Right. Yeah. Okay, scenario 4, what's yours is mine. So this is 1 objective in the middle, and then 1 objective anywhere on the table and 1 objective in your opponent's zone. So 5 objectives. And if you control both the ones you placed, so this is unchanged from before.
Unchanged, yeah. This was always a good mission. I liked it.
Yeah, so you have to hold the 1 in No Man's that you put and the 1 in your opponent's that you put.
Yeah.
Scenario 5, Precious Cargo. So this is one with the 5 objectives, and then you pick one and you move it up to 6 inches. And the bonus is if you hold your opponents. So that's the same, but there's a new bonus condition. If you hold any 3 objectives, you get the bonus.
Yeah.
Which is, depending on deployment map, is not that hard.
It's not that hard, yeah. I remember reading this mission and like my brain like skipped over one of the words, and I was like, "Oh, I'll just pick the middle objective as my bonus and move it backwards." And then I was like, "Oh, upon further reading of English,
No,
you can't do that."
That part of it is unchanged, but now you can just hold any 3 for the bonus. So that's definitely an alternative way of scoring. And then Crucible of Champions, I think, is basically unchanged. 5 objectives, set objectives, 3 characters on objectives.
Yeah.
So that's unchanged.
That's unchanged, yeah.
So that is it. What do you think, Yoji?
It's cool. I like it. I like change. So it changes playstyle. I honestly think that the with more Second Awakening coming out still for other armies that haven't gotten it yet, with these new secondaries, with deploying everything and going first, no C's. Like I think this is going to in my opinion, it's going to drastically change the meta. It's going to change how people play. It's good for the game too because you don't want it to be stale. But I think this overall, it's going to change the game drastically.
Mm-hmm. The rumor there were supposed to be 9 missions for super majors, but also so people could swap in 3 other missions, so it's less stale. But they never got around to doing the other 3. But there's a rumor that they will at some point. But so that would be cool if you could choose from 9, because then you don't always playing the same ones.
That'd be cool. I think AOS has that, don't they? They have like 12 missions or something crazy.
Well, yeah, because they just keep using missions from the previous year.
Yeah.
I think you could use up to 18 missions. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, that's cool. I actually quite like it. I think, as you say, just having different missions is good. And because like ITC missions are all fairly similar, and so eventually it kind of feels like it doesn't really matter what mission you're playing. What matters more is the deployment. So with new secondaries and new missions, I think it's going to be cool. And so I think it's going to be fun learning new stuff. So if anybody has questions, so we started a new feature on the Discord. There is a questions for the podcast channel where people can put questions for the podcast. Now, this goes back a while because we kept delaying it, but I'll just pick a random point and we'll start from there. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. All right. What do you think of rules that exist that break other people's rules? For example, the rules that various units have now to prevent deep striking within 12, Alpha Legion stratagem. Do you think that these rules are unhealthy for the game?
No, I think they're fine. It adds another element to your playstyle. Like you have to adapt to what that unit can do. All right, I got to play it differently. Got to do something different.
Okay.
Sorry?
Yep. Okay. That's good. I think I agree with you. I think those rules are okay. You just have to play around it. And, initially everyone thought that everyone was going to be running 3 units of infiltrators just to like make a no-go zone. But in the end, nobody really does that.
No one really does it. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Question here about Telemons. We don't need to talk about that.
If you want to, go ahead. I know you want.
There's a question here about leaked ITC rules, so we don't need to talk about that.
Yeah.
Where do you think combat armies are right now in the game?
They're doing great. Possess Bomb is literally pantsing people. Gene Circle have been doing well.
Do you think Grey Knights is the end of Possess Bomb? Or do you think that's overblown?
No. I've played against Grey Knights a few times now. Me and Devin have been playtesting it.
Yeah.
They are a problem. That army is disgusting.
Because of?
It's everything it does. Okay, so the first one, which is not game related, is it's cheap as hell to make a Grey Knight army because there are a lot of points and a lot of it's like stones, just not forgeable. Okay, What they can do is disgusting. The amount of mortal wounds they can put out, the out of line of sight shooting that they can do, the moving and shooting in the psychic phase they can do, their durability. The damage to smites is ridiculous. And there's no minuses to it, so they're just always doing it. They get +1 to do it. They also +1 to deny. Everyone's a psyker, so psychic heavy armies can get shut out pretty much if need be. Like me and him sat there literally talking. We were trying to find bad matchups. We were like, I don't know, can't think of one. I literally could not think of one. Like I played him, uh, and the game was close. Like by the end of it, he tabled me on turn 5 or something like that. And I had killed a lot, but it didn't matter. He got the points that he needed. It's just the durability and the way you can play the list that he had, the way you can play it. You can make it so your opponent really doesn't do anything to you.
What's durable? Just the paladins, or they're all durable?
Well, like the list you're going to probably see a lot of is 2 units of 10 paladins with character support, right? And it's like 1 unit will be -1 to hit and -1 to wound. The other one will like -1 damage. So it's like, which one do you really want to shoot at? And that one will have sanctuary on it and something like that.
Yeah.
1 unit you'll cast, like if everyone uses standardized terrain, or most places like Nova, let's say, that have the L's, you can put 2 units in there, right? And it's infantry, you can walk through, they're infantry. You astral aim 1 unit so they shoot through the wall, and the other unit you can move past the wall, shoot it in the psychic phase, and then move it back behind the wall, and just do this every turn. And their psych powers are all like on a 6, except for Vortex, which I think is on an 8, right? So you have 2 units that effectively you can never shoot back unless you have indirect fire, which is not going to do anything to them, right? And I'm just going to be shooting you with all my weapons that are -2 AP. You can make it -3. They're strength 8 on the side cannons. They have storm bolters. Like it's a lot of shooting that you can't interact with unless you have indirect fire, and your indirect fire is pretty much not going to do anything to it.
Yeah.
Based on the stratagem they can use, it is CP heavy, but whatever. Just take strike marines. And what's cool is, let's say you do 2 battalions and you have 6 units of strike marines. I would just shove them all in reserve, so you have to shoot my paladins, and I have like 5 or 6 characters or whatever. You're open. Like, it's so hard just to get kill something. Like they'll kill something, they'll kill more, they'll hold the center. A lot of those new secondaries that you want to be in the center or be like in your zone it's super gross. It's so good.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's easy to paint. Cheap. It's like the greatest army
after all.
Yeah, Custodes, Grey Knights, man, just make super units that are hard to kill and just walk across the table. Like, go ahead, try to kill me, and you never get any points.
Yeah.
But no, Grey Knights are they're awesome. They're awesome.
Okay.
I may or may not have bought a Strike Squad box.
Oh, you totally did.
I definitely did. It's definitely right in front of me.
All right. Okay. Let's see. What do you think about this latest book, the Tau GSC Guard book?
It's great. I like it. Tau got buffs they didn't need, but fine, I guess. Give them more things to make them better. Why not? Everybody gets something. No, I like it all. It looks cool. I didn't read too much into the Guard one. GSC had some cool stuff. Really, I was looking at Tau because I saw Tau as being one of the more armies that you saw. Not a lot of, but it was one of the top armies at the time. And a lot of the cool steps you can make is really cool, like adding AP to your weapons that didn't have weapons before. Cold Star commanders with missile pods might be a thing, because I believe they either went up in damage or up in AP, I can't remember. Or you don't suffer the penalty for moving and shooting. Yeah, there's some school. All the everything that's come out in Psychic Awakening for pretty much every army has been really good, which makes me excited for other stuff to still come out, right?
Yeah.
Like, I can only imagine what Knights are going to get.
Oh God, if Knights go back to being like everywhere again, I'm going to be like so upset, because only now they're just starting to disappear.
They might. I don't know. GW does like selling expensive models.
God,
we'll
hate
see.
Knights. I hate Knights more than Tau, actually.
Yeah.
Did I just say that?
Well, if you look at the missions now, you're gonna see a lot of MSU. That's more product being sold. Like, it's almost like some of it was influenced. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
But we'll see. No, I think everything that's happening right now is I love. People call it power creep or codex creep or whatever. I like it because it gives me something to look into, research, find new ways to win, do that. I like that type of gameplay. I always feel like you shouldn't take away rules and make things bad. You should just make everything the same, right? The more powerful, the better. Like, I like it because it makes it crazy, and the games are faster.
All right, Nick, who's a newer tournament player, so kind of general question on tailoring your list for, like, say, ITC. So how much, or can you, or what's the general principle for that? That's a good question.
Yeah. So when you're building your list, usually, like, well, I'll give you an example of what I do. So I look at what format I'm playing in, so the missions. So can my army do these missions well? That's the easy one. Okay. With ITC, since you have your secondaries, you can build your list to make it hard for your opponent to pick secondaries against you, which is one tactic, or build your list to be good at doing the secondaries that you want to pick. So if you're a very fast maneuverable army, build your army to do those ones. Some people pick secondaries that don't involve really engaging with your opponent, if you know what I mean. Like you want to do recon behind enemy lines, and then you pick maybe a one kill one if you really want to, because you're sooner or later you're gonna end up killing something. But so there's that, and then look at what the current state of the meta is. So like I look at it now, and you see a lot of Marines. So when you're building your list, you have to keep in mind that you're probably in a 5 or 6 game tournament, let's say, or even an RTT. You might play against Marines once, twice, maybe 3 times. You never know. So you want to have the tools to deal with that, so that when you get to the table, you know that your army's prepared to play against it. Maybe not beat it, whatever, but at least you stand a chance. Because the worst feeling you have is you get to the table, you've created an army that's really good at killing knights. You took 1,000,000 last cannons, and then you play against a horde of gene stealers, and you're like, well, this sucks, and I'm going to lose now, right? And everyone's fallen for that trap before. And it'll happen. Like you'll make a list to play against like the top armies, and then all you're going to end up playing is armies that you suck against, and you're like, this doesn't make any sense. But your best bet is build to your strengths of your army, and build to what you think or what the current meta is. But you can also just build whatever you want. Build whatever list you're going to have fun with, right?
Yeah, I think for ITC specifically, denying secondaries can be very powerful. If you, assuming that you score 12 of your secondaries, if your opponent scores even 11, you're already 1 point up, and a 1 point win is a win. So it can, but you can't go out of your way and gimp yourself just to deny secondaries, right? So you have to. There has to be a balance. But if you, in the grand scheme of making your army, if it's not a big deal to make a secondary 3 out of 4 instead of an auto 4, then that actually severely disincentivizes people from taking that secondary in the first place.
100%.
Like they won't even they will only briefly consider it if they can't score 4, until they come to the end where they're like, well, now I got to pick one, and they're all going to be 3s or 2s, and then they tend not to concentrate on scoring those. So
it's very difficult.
Yeah. So that's just one thing to consider. Denying secondaries can be fairly easier to do than denying primary points. Primary points, half of it is just standing on something, so that's easy. Most armies will kill one thing in a turn, so it can be harder to win off the primary, but for sure, denying secondaries can be a way to go.
Yeah, and some armies are better at doing that than others. Don't get me wrong. Like I wouldn't recommend certain armies doing it because they don't have the tools, so to speak, to achieve that effectively. But you just have to look at it and say, do I lose any of my chemistry in my army doing this way?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. All right, let's move on. How do you plan to change scoring for next year in regards to stopping submarining? Yeah. So we have already changed our scoring formula to stop submarining, or to disincentivize submarining. It's complex math, and I don't understand it fully, but it works apparently. Moving down, blah, 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 blah. Are you going to ban marine supplements to ensure imbalance? Nope. Who is in the best position to overtake the meta if Marines get the nerf bat?
Eldar, Grey Knights.
Yeah, Grey Knights.
But if the Grey Knights stay the way they are now, I do not see anyone beating them in the foreseeable future.
But for sure, Eldar was already right behind them.
Yeah,
depending on who plays. And so if Marines took a dive, then Eldar would just be right back on top again, for sure. Mm-hmm. And Eldar has at least some defense against all these psychic shenanigans.
I can, don't get me wrong, I can beat the Grey Knight army. It's not easy, and you need to go first.
You need to go first.
You definitely need to go first.
So you want to win that initial roll, and then you'll get
as much as I hate it, because I like going second. Because I like having the control over the kill more, hold more, whatnot. But you need to punch that army in the face
before it gets all this buffs up.
before it literally does anything, because
Yeah,
it's gonna do things to you.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Will the greater good changes spare us from a meta of Thousand Suns and Grey Knights? I don't think so. No. Um,
Winter's coming in the form of gray armor
there's
or
some
something.
list questions here for Custodes. Answer those on Wednesday. How do you deal with Brohammer list? Apparently, you cannot.
How do you deal with the Grey Knights?
Grey Knight, you think Grey Knights will beat Broviathan?
A million percent.
Just from like what
I move
numbers?
out. I move out. I move out and I smite you to death, and then I move back behind my wall. Like I can be cagey and shoot you with 20 paladins worth of psycans and all that stuff at your whatever your intercessors and all that stuff. The chaplain's not going to do anything to me. They're going to shoot me last cannons. Like no one cares, right? And then if you push forward, I have 20 paladins. Like these are not easy units to kill, and they want to be in combat with you. So like they will win the playback challenge, and if they want to push forward, they'll push forward. That is like how many units can you do that with? You have like let's say the Space Marine play the Pro Python list, they have to stay close together, right, for their little buster. I can take 6 strike squads of Marines. I can deep strike in, and all of them can have Vortex of Doom. So I can every turn I can come down, cast the power, into Vortex of Doom you, and that does mortal wounds to everybody within range. Right now, imagine me doing that every turn to you. It would be the most annoying thing in the world. Right? So you have to spread out. Then they push forward and they smite you. It's the most frustrating army to play against.
Yeah, it's hard. And you can't wrap them. You don't want to fight them because all their nemesis weapons and extra attacks now because of marine shit and those guys
Oh,
hurt,
it's
man. Like
gross.
it's really gross.
It's so gross. And the
Yeah.
way they change their tide is like, I'm going to smite you to death, and then I'll switch my tide to shooting. So now my shooting phase, I'm going to shoot you. Then, okay, it's my turn again. Okay, I want my psychic phase to be good. So I'm going to shoot you with this unit first while I'm still in that tide. Then I'll switch it. Then I'll smite you to death. It's like, why?
Yeah.
How was this fair?
Yeah. And I'm sorry, a Calexis assassin is not the solution.
Yeah, come to find out, it does not work, because if it said you hit on sixes, which I swear to God, I thought it said that, I was like, okay, this shuts down this whole army. Grey Knights is not a problem. It says 6+, and I'm like, God damn it, doesn't work.
Yeah.
So
So and if they really needed to, they could just charge it and it would be dead. So
yeah,
yeah, just
yeah,
standing your Calexis out in the front is not going to solve Great
yeah.
Knights for you.
Well, one of their power is it power or strategy? No, it's a power. It literally calls out modifying your ballistic skill and changing the like calls out both of them. Because one of them I was like, oh, that doesn't do it, and then like Devin kept reading, and I'm like, okay, that stops it. No, I can't. Now you just hit me, and I die. You'll kill all the assassins turn one. So I was like, damn it, the plan is foiled.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that is all the questions that we have. All right. Well, thanks very much for joining me, Yogo.
No problem.
Much appreciated. And thank you, everybody, for joining us on the Twitch and for watching and for listening. Wednesday, so tomorrow's show is delayed to Wednesday. We're going to do Custodes Tactica on Wednesday. That's going to be Custodes and a new ITC. And then on Thursday, we've got a game with Jean and his new guard shenanigans with Blood Angels. I'll be playing Seer Council and Harlequins. And yeah, so that's the rest of this week. And so thanks very much for watching, guys. See you next time.